Dear students of class 6, welcome to you all. Today, I like to discuss the topic when, how, when and where. It is the first chapter of history of class 6. And now, one after another, I will be clarifying the topic. First, what is history? What is history? The term history is, or word history is derived from the Greek word historia. Greek word historia. Historia meaning investigation into the past. It means investigation into the past. So, history, we all know, history is the records of the past events, people and places. Now we see that the historians gives answer with many questions. For example, the how and when or where people appeared on earth. We know that generally we think that from history we can learn about the culture of our own people. From history we can learn how the people of different countries of the world form a nation. So, history is not the story of kings or queens or heroes. It is the story of mankind and its development and its growth. So, thus we can conclude that history is the story of human civilization from the prehistoric age to the modern age. So, this is the definition of history, or according to a great historian E.H. Carr, history is the unending dialogue. History is the story of unending dialogue between the past and the present. Now, why do we study the past? Why do we study the past? We know that our lives are based on the events that happened in the past. Historians have gave answers to many questions. When, where and how the early man or primitive man appeared on earth. How they lived. What were their lifestyle? How did they move from one place to another? We also know by studying history that how man invented fire and potter's wheel and also farming. So, by studying history we can learn the irrigation, how man learned irrigation, agriculture and animal husbandry. How man gradually developed a more settled and secured life. By studying history, we can learn how the writings developed, how the language we speak today came into existence, and how our art, architecture, culture, religion, etc. was created by the people. So, thus history acts like a bridge. It is like a bridge linking the past to the present. Naturally, it makes, if we read history properly, it makes us wise. And we can understand the many problems we are facing today. Now, next subtopic is dates in history. Dates are very important. It is called chronology. The sequence of events which is placed, which happened in the past is called chronology, or ordering of events which happened in the past is called chronology. Now, generally we use the date as BC or AD. Previously we used it. BC means before the birth of Jesus Christ. AD means Anno Domini. Anno Domini means in the year of our Lord. The BC is counted backwards. The dates of BC are always counted backwards and AD is counted forwards. The birth of Jesus Christ is taken as a reference point. The dates of birth of Jesus Christ, that is AD. The dates of birth of Jesus Christ is taken as a reference point. You see that, however, at present, the historians prefer to use BCE and CE respectively. So, historians now prefer to use BC and CE as dates. BC means before Common Era, CE means Common Era. BC is the dates of BC are always counted backwards, the dates of CE are always counted forward. Now, this is the importance of date in history. Next, what is period and periodization in history? Historians have broadly divided the period in two groups, that is prehistory and history. Prehistory and history. What I said, historians have divided two broad divisions, the prehistory and history. What is prehistory? Prehistory is a long period of human evolution before the invention of writing. What happened at the time? People lived in the cave, primitive man, they roamed from place to place, they used to hunt the animals. There is no records of writing. And history is the long period of human evolution after the invention of writing. So, it is a period, history is a period when man began to learn the art of writing. So, the history from this period, history is actually preserved in the form of records. Now, we see that early form of writing first appeared in the world 6000 BCE. 6000 early form of writing. It is said that Sumeria in Babylon, where the cuneiform script was developed. Cuneiform spelling CUNEIFORM. Cuneiform meaning wedge shaped writing. WEDG, wedge shaped marks or marks on clay tablets. Cuneiform. However, the primitive man used to draw the picture in some caves. So, for example, we have discovered the caves, Altamira cave in Spain, Lausex in France, and Bhimbetka in Madhya Pradesh. In ancient time, however, we see that this is the story of period and periodization. Now, how do we study the past? We see that a group of scholars, various scholars like the historians, archaeologists, anthropologists, geologists, and many others who help us to know the past events. How they help us? They help us, the historians and archaeologists and anthropologists help us by studying the various methods or sources. It is called a branch of science. It is in history. It is called archaeology and anthropology. Archaeology is a scientific study of artifacts or ancient remains, which the archaeologists excavated from many places. And also anthropologist is a scientific study of human body or human evolution, scientific study of human evolution since ancient time. However, we see that this is how the historians, archaeologists, anthropologists help us to know the past by using the various methods, various sources, and thus they reconstruct history. Now, what are the sources of history? Sources of history can be broadly divided into two groups. One was archaeological sources, another one literary sources. Archaeological sources can be subdivided into inscriptions, monuments and coins and artifacts. What are inscriptions? Inscriptions are the writings which are engraved on stone, or pillars, rocks, caves, and we see that also the tablets, clay tablets, copper plates, clay tablets, etc. So, what we learned from these inscriptions? These inscriptions give us a great deal of information about the social, cultural and religious life of the people and the extent of the empire, religious belief of the people, their cultural life, etc. For example, Ashokan inscription. From Ashokan inscription, we can learn the principles of Ashokanism or Ashokan Dhammo, and extent of his empire and other activities of King Ashoka. Similarly, we may mention the study of inscription is called epigraphy. Study of inscription is called epigraphy. Now, we are going to describe monuments. Old buildings of historical importance are called monuments. The temples, forts, palaces and ruins of the various cities, etc. give us a lot of information about the social, cultural and religious or political life of the people. For example, we have discovered in 1920 Harappan civilization. The excavation at Harappa and Mohenjo-daro and other nearby sites have proved undoubtedly that a very prosperous civilization flourished in Indus Valley about 5,000 years ago. So, also you may mention the name of the monuments like Chaitas, like stupas built by Ashoka, stupas, the Buddhist ruins of Buddhist monasteries, for example, Nalanda Monastery or Nalanda University, and many other similar ancient monuments give us a lot of information about the cultural life of the people. Now, coins and artifacts. We know that another important source in archaeology is the coins. coins of different periods like the Mauryan period, Kushan and Gupta period have been discovered, which from coins we can learn the ruling period of the ruler, the name of the king, personal taste of the ruler, religious belief, language, script. Now, for example, from Samudragupta's coin, we can learn that Samudragupta was a great devotee of Vishnu and he was fond of music. Similarly, the first coins which was used in India is known as punch marked coins, PUNCHMARKED. Punch marked coins is the first used by the Mauryan ruler. Punch marked coins. The study of coins is known as numismatics. Numismatics. Study of coins is known as numismatics. Now, artifacts. ARTEFACTS. Artifacts. Artifacts are actually, it was the art in the form of art developed by humans. We have discovered many statues, potteries, ornaments, jewelries. For example, the statues of dancing girl, which has been discovered in Mohenjo-daro. And similarly, the statues of Nataraj, which were discovered in South India. And this similarly, other types of statues, ornaments, potteries, different types of potteries have been discovered, have been unearthed, excavated in Harappan civilization and many other places. So, undoubtedly this proved what was the economic condition of the people, their cultural life, etc. Now, religious literature, another group besides archaeology. Religious literature, we know the writings already I was discussing previously. The writings first appeared on earth 6000 BC. Men began to write their records and memories by hand, and these handwritten records were known as manuscripts. Handwritten records were known as manuscripts. So, these were written on palm leaves, parchments, PARCHMENTS. Parchments means skin of goat or sheep, and bark of birch trees, BIRCH, birch trees, and also clay tablets, etc. Whatever it may be, now I am going to discuss religious literature. It can be divided, literary sources can be broadly divided: religious literature or sacred literature, secular, court chronicles, biographies, and accounts of foreign travelers. Now, religious literature. We see that religious literature, the theme, the main writings which was in the form of religion is known as religious literature. For example, there are only Vedic literature, Rig, Sam, Yajur, Atharva, and two epics, Ramayana, Mahabharata, Bhagavad Gita, and Tripitakas of Buddhism, the holy book, and Angas of the Jainism. This gives us a lot of information about the social and cultural life of the people. Similarly, the secular literature, the writings or books or text which was not of a religious nature is known as secular literature. For example, the Kautilya's Arthashastra, Panini's Vyakaran or grammar, and many other similar books were written at that time. See that court chronicles. Chronicles actually official records or accounts of a dynasty or dynasties which were, for example, the Ras Tarangini written by Kashmiri poet Kalohana, which gives us an account of the dynasty from ancient time to the 12th century AD. So, this is the importance of court chronicles. Similarly, the biographies, for example, Banabhatta's Harshacharit. Banabhatta is a court poet of Harshavardhan. He wrote Harshacharit. It is an example from Banabhatta's Harshacharit we can learn about the Harshavardhan's reign. And now accounts of foreign travelers. During this time, in ancient period, Greeks and Romans, Chinese and Tibetan and Arab travelers came from time to India, and they left valuable accounts about our country, our valuable tradition, customs, beliefs, etc. For example, we know that it is Megasthenes, is a Greek ambassador, came to the court of Chandragupta Maurya, and he wrote a book called Indica, Megasthenes Indica, Indica of Megasthenes. Phayan, a Chinese traveler who came to India and travelled extensively and wrote a book called Fuokuo Ki. Similarly, Huan who came during the reign of Harshavardhan. Phayan came during the reign of Chandragupta II, the Gupta ruler. And Huan came in the 7th century AD during the time of Harshavardhan. He also left a valuable account about Harshavardhan's reign, about Buddhism in his book Siyu Ki. So, thus we see that the various sources of history, the archaeological and literary sources, have enriched us, and we know about and it makes the past, actually we can understand the past, and it makes our past very live and active. So, this is how we can learn the history, and this is the utility of learning history. Thank you all.